the others too. You mint PLP tokens with your Pulse and PulseX, so you can earn fees from PulseChain transactions, and then you can stake PLP tokens to earn incentive tokens. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And that makes total sense to everybody. That's so intuitive.
I framed it for you. So take us down the road of making it make sense. Yeah. Like what?
No. I mean, you said everything exactly right, but all these words, acronyms and stuff it's like a foreign language. So I understand why a lot of people ask me, and I'm sure you too, about how to do validating, whether or not it's even worth it. In conclusion, guys, I mean, the conclusion of that video is this, right? If you're dealing with under a few grand, like a couple hundred to maybe like, I'd say maybe under 10,000, I wouldn't be even worried about validating until I had over $10,000 to play around with, right? And it wouldn't even be my whole stack. I would never want to risk my whole stack of anything being a validator, because you take on risk as a validator. Now, if that sounds like something you're okay with, if you have a little bit bigger bags and you want to maybe allocate a portion of your bag to try validating, what you're going to want to look for is what it comes down to is it's all about the pair, guys. It's all about the liquidity pair you choose. And what you want to choose, what you're looking for, is a liquidity pair where the ratios between the two coins are going to be relatively bound within a range. You want range-bound ratios on your liquidity pair. For example, the Hex PulseX pair, because people are going to probably be buying both of them. They're both going to be very successful, in my opinion. That'd be a pretty okay pair to deal with, because whether or not you have impermanent loss on one coin or another, as long as you're happy with, potentially getting more of one coin and less of another coin. Well, I like Pulse and PulseX. So I don't care if I lose a little Pulse and gain a little PulseX, because if they're all pumping and I'm still earning fees over a long enough time, I could be profitable on all that, And let's say the PulseX ratio itself, sloshes around between maybe 2-to-1 and 4-to-1, right? And if you notice a trend like that happening in a certain pair, maybe it's the Hex PLS pair, maybe it's the Hex PLSX pair. But I like these pairs because I think when all the coins are pumping and you don't care which one you're left with more or less of, that's good. But you better like both coins. If you're going to do a liquidity position on a certain pair, you better like both of the coins. If you're pairing Hex with some shitcoin, thinking you're going to be smart, and that shitcoin goes to zero or gets rugged, well, everybody just exited that shitcoin into your Hex, right? So you're left with a whole big bag of shitcoin, and no, you don't have any Hex left, right? And then Hex is the one that went up a whole bunch, and you just gave it all up because you didn't know what you were doing. So you don't want one coin's price to totally run away from you. You want to pick coins that are kind of going to go up together and preferably go up within a range in terms of their ratio of one to another. How many of coin A, how many of coin B does it take to buy coin A? That's all a ratio is, right? 2-to-1 PulseX to Pulse means it takes 2 PulseX to buy 1 Pulse. That's the ratio. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. Now, it's a 2-step process. Okay. When you want to provide liquidity, when you have a liquidity position, you start earning platform fees in the form of the fees that are paid, and the fees are always paid in the 2 tokens that you put up liquidity for. So if I put up $10,000 of liquidity on the PulseX side, well, number one, I have to put up an equal dollar value on both sides. $5,000 worth of PLS and $5,000 worth of PulseX, whatever number that might be. So I put up these liquidity pairs on either side, and I'm using Pulse and PulseX as an example. Then now I've got a PLP position, okay? I can actually get a token in my wallet that represents my share of the liquidity pool. This token is called a PLP token. Now, I think PLP stands for PulseChain Liquidity Pool or PulseChain Liquidity Provider. I don't know what it stands for, but that sounds likely, right? And that token sits in your wallet. That token doesn't have a value. You can't sell it. There's no market for these tokens, but, well, there might be. Actually, that's an interesting thought. But these tokens are just your symbol of your ownership in the pool, that when you want to pull your liquidity out later, those tokens dictate how much rewards you get in terms of how much, Pulse can you pull out and how much PulseX can you pull out. What are your ending balances after, you liquidity provide for, let's say, 6 months, right? So you got the PLP token that you stake, you got the PLP token. And if you just hold this PLP token and don't do anything at all with it, you're going to be making fees. It's fine. You don't have to stake it in the liquidity farm. But as an additional thing you can do is you can take this PLP token that you now have, that you minted by having a liquidity position. And this PLP token is like a receipt. Okay. It's just like a receipt that you have some amount of liquidity going on. You can go ahead and take that PLP, stake it, and earn INC. no minimums, no maximums. You can unstake it whenever you want. Crypto class, the answer to your question is, yeah, you could just buy INC too. I'm not interested in buying INC personally, but some people might choose to buy it just because it's a shiny new ticker symbol, and people really don't care sometimes about what they're buying. But yeah, you could just buy INC, or you could earn
Can
it
you
for
buy
free.
PLP? You think it'll be liquidity for PLP? I mean, it's a
It
token.
might be. I don't even know. I guess technically people could put up liquidity on liquidity tokens, maybe. Although on Uniswap, your liquidity position is signified by an NFT, right? So yes, you can sell those liquidity positions on OpenSea as NFTs. However, it seems that your liquidity position on PulseX is actually an ERC20 token. But I need to get the answer to that question. I need to figure that out for myself. What kind of token is it? I don't think it's an NFT, but anyway, so I was basically where I was that, yeah, you could stake your liquidity position, your PLPs, and you can earn INC. And that's just a nice little added bonus, right? A nice little, if you're already going to provide liquidity anyway, why wouldn't you just stake it and earn INC token? Again, I'm not interested in really buying INC token. Maybe that'll change. Maybe I'll FOMO into it because everyone will just ape, and I'll be like, okay, shit, I was wrong. Maybe INC token is good. Maybe Richard will pull something where like INC token is somehow related to the wallet or something. His new wallet that he's working on. It'd be really cool if he found some creative use for INC to pump it or give it some kind of value. But it's just a token, guys. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't literally. It just exists. It just is given to liquidity providers. So you might be able to say, okay, it's scarce because you need to do a lot of work to mint one. To mint one into existence, you need to do stuff. That alone might give it value.
Then,
I mean, look, having a logo just gives something value. Having a ticker symbol inherently just gives something value because
being paired to something else that has value gives it value, aka Hart's Law. Yeah.
Well said. Well said. And it's, I noticed on testnet that it was paired to hex, and you could exchange 20 hex for one INC. 20 hex. So people are valuing it at today's prices of about $1.50. That's like they're saying like every INC is like $1.50. So if every couple weeks or whatever you earn INC tokens, that could be a couple extra dollars, every week, or maybe even hundreds or thousands. I don't know. Depends how much liquidity you put up.
I think it'd be insane if PLP to the moon, like that became the 10,000X token for first of everything. Like it's all just the trap. Yeah, it's like forget PulseX. Look at now everyone's doing videos on the game theory of PLP and INC. It's just that'd be hilarious.